Well, hey everybody. I wanted to get to share with you a story today. It's a story that Jesus told. It's going to be sort of the main part of our story, our lesson for today. This is a Bible story that you can find in Matthew's Gospel in the 21st chapter. And I should say at the beginning that this is a story about a guy who owns a farm where he grows grapes. And the word we use for a farm where you grow grapes is a vineyard, like a vine yard, a place where you got some grapevines growing. So when you hear about a vineyard in this story, it is just a farm where you go grow grapes. And people who are working on this farm, who work for the landowner, they're called tenants. They're like people who get to rent the farm. They do the work and they get to keep some of the food that they grow, and some of it goes to the farmer who actually owns all the land, okay? All right, so here is how the story goes. Jesus says, listen to another parable. There was a landowner who planted a vineyard, put a fence around it, dug a wine press in it, and built a watchtower. Then he leased it to tenants and went to another country. When the harvest time had come, he sent his servants to the tenants to collect his produce. But the tenants seized his slaves and beat one and killed another and stoned another. He sent other slaves, even more than the first, and they treated them in the same way. Finally, he sent his son to them, saying, "They will respect my son." But when the tenants saw the son, they said to themselves, "This is his heir. Come, let's get rid of him and get his inheritance." So they seized him and threw him out of the vineyard and got rid of him. When the owner of the vineyard comes, what's he going to do to those tenants? And everybody listening said, he's going to have to find other people to be tenants who will give him the right harvest. What a mean thing to do for those renters. Jesus said, of course, that's exactly what God's up to. Of course, the religious people knew that Jesus was talking about them and that they had not been very good caretakers of God's people. Turns out God cares about us. God cares about you, me, and God cares about the people who are supposed to be in charge of taking care of us, guarding us, teaching us, all that. And if people aren't doing a good job of taking care of us, God's going to look for other people who do a good job. So I want to invite you to think about that today as we hear some more. Some conversation coming up in just a little bit. Bye. Lord, prepare me to be a sanctuary, pure and holy, tried and true. With thanksgiving, I'll be a living sanctuary for you. Lord, prepare me to be a sanctuary, pure and holy, tried and true. With thanksgiving, I'll be a living sanctuary for
Well, hey friends, welcome to another week's Sunday School Lesson Conversation. I'm Pastor Steve,
And I'm Shelby.
and we're glad that you can be with us here. We're going to spend some time talking about another really important and interesting story that Jesus told, but before we get to that, I learned one thing that Shelby and I have in common is that we both have dogs, right? So I would be really curious to hear about your dog. Tell us a little bit about your dog, Shelby.
My dog is named Toby. And he's 12 years old.
Wow, okay.
He's all white.
Okay.
And he loves to watch TV.
Does he? Does he have any favorite TV shows?
He likes the ones with dogs on.
Of course, yeah. Does he bark at them?
He does.
Okay. And if there's other dogs around, someone walking their dog down the road or something like that, does he bark or no?
No.
Okay, interesting. Our dog, Daisy, will bark not only if she sees a dog outside or hear a dog on TV, but if she catches her reflection in a mirror somehow, sometimes she gets a little bit frightened and starts barking at the dog she sees in the mirror too. She's only 2, so she's maybe learning a little bit more about how the world works, huh?
I have a picture of Toby on a pillow.
Oh yeah.
And he doesn't react when he sees it.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Interesting. Well, I brought a picture of my dog. This might be a little bit hard to see here, but my dog is Daisy. There she is, sort of just staring, looking right at me, wondering why I was holding the camera at her face.
And I have a picture of Toby.
Oh, good. You've had Toby for a while now.
Yes.
Like I say, we've had Daisy since she was just a brand new puppy, so for about 2 years. And I was thinking about, there have been a few times where we have had to travel. We'd take a vacation or I have to be out of town or something like that. Or even if I have to be away for a long part of the day and someone needs to let the dog out. So there have been times that we've had to make arrangements for our dog either to go to a kennel for a few days or to have a sitter come or something like that. Have you ever had that experience, Shelby?
Yes, I have. I've been away for a week and had to have somebody come in and take care of them.
So what are the kinds of things that you have to tell a dog sitter to do if they're going to come and watch your dog?
They need to feed and water the dog and take it out to do its business.
Right.
And just make sure that it's still safe.
Yeah.
And that there's nothing out where the dog can get to it that would be harmful to it.
Yeah. I don't know if any of you have dogs. I know a lot of folks have dogs or cats or maybe hamsters or horses or maybe all the above. Have you ever had one of those times where you had to have somebody watch your dog or watch your cat or your pet for you? It can be a little bit scary if you have had to trust somebody for the first time because you're not really sure how's the dog going to react, how's your pet going to react to having a stranger around, and at least dogs like mine really are friendly and like being around other people, and so to have the whole house empty for a long time, that can be rough on a dog, especially if they don't know, and so nice to have somebody who's going to come and check on them, right?
Yes.
So I want to, I guess, play something out with you, Shelby. It help me think through something. Imagine that you are going to have to go out of town on a trip for several days. You're going to have a dog sitter, and maybe your usual dog sitting person isn't available, and you, I don't know, seen like someone's put up a flyer or a poster up at the post office or at the grocery store or something like that saying, I am willing to be a dog sitter, here's my phone number, I've got reasonable rates, give me a call. And you think, all right, I'll give this person a try. Because it's really important, you got to be out of town, you need a dog sitter. So let's imagine, you call them, they say they will come and be your dog sitter. What kinds of things are you going to show them or tell them about Toby, or what kind of things are you going to want to make sure happen for the days they're going to watch Toby?
I'll make sure that they know where the food is.
Okay, yeah.
And that they check and see how much water he has, that he needs a couple times a day. And I'll probably show them where things are to take them outside, where the leash is and that kind of thing.
Yeah. So then the day comes, and you have to head out, and you say your goodbyes to Toby. I've had to say our goodbyes to Daisy before, and then, I don't know about you, but in our family, anytime my kids are away from our dog for very long, They want to call and see how Daisy the dog is doing. And so, like, if I'm the one who's home watching the dog and they're the ones who are away, they'll want to call me and say, can I talk to Daisy? Or can I hear Daisy? Or if we're doing by video, can you go find Daisy so I can see how Daisy's doing, that kind of thing. So let's imagine you tell the dog sitter, you know, after a day or two, I'm going to want to check to see how things are going. And you get to your destination and you call back to the dog sitter, but nobody answers. How do you feel?
I would be concerned.
Okay, so you call your dog sitter, no answer, and you're a little bit nervous, a little bit concerned because I don't know what's going on. How come that they're not answering? Right? I told the dog sitter I'd be calling, I'd want to check in, see how my dog is doing, and no answer. All right, but we're not to red alert yet. You think, all right, maybe it's a bad time. I'll try again a little bit later. You try again, still no answer. How are you feeling now?
A little worried.
Yeah, we start moving from that's weird to now I'm a little bit worried about this.
Yeah.
What about, let's imagine another day goes past, no reply back. You can tell that they've gotten your phone call. They can see that you called. But you think, all right, maybe they didn't hear the phone ringing, and maybe they didn't see. I'll send them a text message, or I'll send them an email. They sent me their email address too. I'm trying all different ways. And none of these things are getting through. They're not responding. You just want to get to hear how Toby's doing. I want to hear how Daisy's doing, and I don't know. Now, how are you feeling?
Pretty nervous. I would probably want somebody to check on them.
Yeah, because you're not just maybe upset at the dog sitter. It's rude that they're not answering, although it's rude that they're not answering. But you're worried, is Toby okay, right? And now you're beginning to think, why did I trust a random person who put a flyer up at the post office or the grocery store to be my dog sitter? Okay, and so let's imagine you just get so nervous, so worried, you just want to make sure your dog's okay. So you think, you know what, I'm going to call up another friend of mine who lives in the neighborhood. I'm going to send them. Surely they will respect them because it's someone face-to-face, in person, coming to check on the dog. They don't need anything. They just want to see the dog's okay. Mm-hmm. So, I don't know, you pick a friend or a brother or sister or something like that. Would you go over and check? And they say, yep, I'll go myself. I'll go check on the dog. And let's imagine the dog sitter sitting in your house, locks the door, shoos them out the house, won't let them in, and then chases them out the driveway and makes them drive away without even seeing your dog at all. Now what's going on? Now how are you feeling?
Really nervous.
And at this point, my guess is if you have any way of getting back home faster than you planned, you'd be getting home.
I would be going home.
Yeah. Now why? Are you just mad at the dog sitter?
Sort of mad at the dog sitter, sort of worried about the dog.
Yeah.
Both.
So it's possible that you could be mad at, why is the dog sitter doing just such a bad job of being a dog sitter? Mm-hmm. And on top of that, underneath all of that maybe, you're mad or you're upset because you care about Toby the dog, right? I care about Daisy the dog, and if I'm worried something's going to happen or something that she isn't being taken care of, I care about Daisy, I want her to be well, right?
Right.
So when I do get back into town, not only am I getting rid of that dog sitter, right? I'm not going to use that person again. I'm probably not going to pay them the money that they agreed to either. I'm going to find somebody else who's going to be a better dog sitter in the future, right? And I'm going to make sure myself that I'm taking care of Daisy the dog and you would take care of Toby, right?
Yes.
So it seems to me like, as people who know what it's like to care about our pets, to care about our animals, there are times when we have to entrust them to somebody else, but the idea is that they're going to take care of our creatures with the same care that we want to give them. And when that doesn't happen, that makes us mad, but mad because we love our animals. We love our pets, right? Toby, Daisy, whatever your animals are as well. Well, I want to ask if you can keep that thought in your head about how much you care about your pet, your dog, your fish, your bearded dragon, lizard, whatever you got. And think about how much you would be upset if somebody who was supposed to take care of them for you for a while did a bad job and wouldn't even let you know how they were doing. That would be pretty scary because you care about your animals, right? Well, I want to see if maybe that will help us understand a story that Jesus tells a little bit better. Would that be okay with you? I want to ask if you can help me make sure I'm understanding how the story works and what Jesus is talking about. Because in Jesus' day, most people did not have pets like dogs and cats. But people did know what it was like to live on a farm. And maybe you've got that experience too, whether you do or you know somebody who lives on a farm, you drive through or pass farms all the time. I'm betting you know that sometimes the person who owns a piece of land has other people do the farming for them, right? They're sometimes called renters or tenants, and the person who owns it is sometimes just a landowner or a landlord, we might say in our day. So Jesus tells a story where he imagines there's somebody who owns land and he's going to let other people do the farming for him, other people be the tenants. And he cares about his farm. He wants the land to be taken care of. He wants the plants to produce what they're supposed to. Around here we've got lots of folks growing corn or wheat or raising livestock, but in Jesus' day, a lot of people would raise grapes. They'd have a vineyard and they would raise grapes. You could have grape juice, you could snack on the grapes, make raisins out of. But so in Jesus' story, there's a farmer, who owns a vineyard. They were growing grapes, and he gets other people to be the farmers or the tenants for him, right? And he entrusts that they're going to do certain things to take care of the land for him, right? Well, what kinds of things do you imagine tenant farmers would do to take care of the farm?
I would think that they would plant crops.
Okay.
And they would harvest the crops.
Okay.
Keep them watered.
Yeah.
Things like that.
So same thing if you've got a vegetable garden, or if you've even just had to keep flowers growing in your yard in the summertime. Same kinds of things. You plant them, you give them some fertilizer, some plant food, you make sure they get enough water, you pull out weeds, that kind of thing. If you're going to be picking grapes, it means you have to be gentle with the plants. You have to make sure that the vines are doing okay, they don't get mold on them, no weeds, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So in some ways, this is kind of like if you have to go out of town and you entrust somebody to watch your dog. This is kind of what the landowner in the story does, right?
Right.
So
and
just
tenants are kind of like the dog sitter.
Exactly, yeah. So you would expect that the tenants would do what they're supposed to do. They get to live on the farm, they get to eat some of the grapes, and they're supposed to take care of all that belongs to the landowner. Well, in Jesus' story, the tenants don't do a good job. In fact, they don't give the landowner any of the grapes that he should get, and they won't even tell him how things are going. So the landowner starts getting upset. Now, Jesus doesn't live in a time when they have cell phones that you can call somebody or send a text message. Otherwise, the story would go differently. So the landowner starts sending messengers, people who will go and check on how are things going at the farm. And the tenants, the people who are supposed to be taking care of this farm, they won't listen to him at all. They turn them away, lock the door, shut them out, and chase them out the driveway. Well, how do you imagine the landowner is feeling at this point?
Probably pretty upset.
Yeah. I mean, just like you and I said, we would be pretty upset if we couldn't find out how our dogs are doing, right? And here's a farmer who's concerned with a huge farm and is concerned how's everything going there, and he can't even find out. This is his farm after all, right? So the landowner in Jesus' story says, at some point the landowner says, you know what? Sending the messengers, that's not getting through. I will send my very own son. Surely they will respect my son. And the son goes. And these tenant farmers who were supposed to be taking care of the farm, they say, you know what? He's the son. If we get rid of him, we can have the farm to ourselves. So not only do they not listen to the son, they get rid of him. They throw him out of the vineyard and they kill him. And understandably, the landowner is very, very upset about this. And Jesus says, what do you think a landowner is going to do if that happens? He's going to take that farm back for himself and find other people who will be better caretakers, right? Somebody who will actually be a good caretaker, a good farmer for the land. Because the farmer cares not only that the messengers got sent away and that his son was thrown out too, but he cares about his farm, he cares about his land too, right? Well, in a lot of ways, this makes me think about not only how we would feel if someone was watching our dogs and didn't do a very good job, but Jesus tells stories like this for a reason, right? Jesus isn't just like making up stories because it's fun.
Right.
Jesus is always trying to tell us something about how God loves us and how God relates to us. And often in stories that Jesus tells, and there's somebody who's the farmer or the king or something like that, it's a good place to start to go, maybe that's somehow like God, right? Who owns and runs the whole universe, right? So it seems like part of what Jesus is saying is God loves his people. And God had entrusted his people into the hands of good leaders, the religious leaders who were around at the time of Jesus' day and before. And God's hope, God's wish, God's calling to them is take care of them, teach them to walk in my ways, teach them to love each other, to take care of each other, to be fair and to be just and to be kind to one another. And they didn't do it. They didn't do a good job. Over and over and over again, they didn't do a good job. So, I don't know, what's God to do in a situation like that?
Yeah, he sent his son.
Yeah, so God sends messengers, sometimes we call them the prophets, and when they don't listen to the prophets, God finally sends his son, Jesus. And the hope is, finally maybe everybody will listen to God's voice in Jesus. And instead, the religious leaders and the other powerful people, they did not like what Jesus had to say at all, and they ran him out of town and put him on a cross, and he died. Oh my goodness. I mean, like, this is sad stuff.
Yeah.
But at the heart of all this is God's love, who cares so much about us, that God's willing to send Jesus, even though it's going to mean that Jesus dies on the cross for us. Just like you're willing to do whatever it takes to make sure Toby the dog is safe. Just like I would do whatever it takes if I found out someone wasn't taking care of Daisy the dog very well. I would do whatever I could to make things right.
Yeah.
And Jesus says that's where God's at. When God saw that there weren't good leaders who weren't taking care of God's people, God sent Jesus. And God knew that might mean that we would even reject Jesus and that he would die on the cross for us. But that's exactly what God was willing to do. God was willing to be rejected. God was willing even to be hurt. God was willing to even go to the cross for us in Jesus because God loves us that much. That's pretty amazing.
Yeah, it is.
You know, it's funny. We started our conversation just talking about dogs and grapes. And in the end, this story is really all about just how very, very much God loves every last one of us. And that when anybody gets in the way, when anybody is doing something that might harm us or threaten us, that makes God upset because God cares about us. And I bet that even in our ordinary life too, if there's ever been a time where somebody's picking on you, or if you've ever been the kid who was picked on at school, or you're the last person picked in gym class in school in gym, or if you're the one who nobody else wants to eat with or hang out with, like, it's important to know God cares about you, and that God gets upset when other people don't treat us rightly. And also when I'm the one who's been kind of mean to somebody else, God has some opinions about that as well, and doesn't want me to treat somebody else like that. That all of this storytelling is about how much God cares when somebody isn't taken care of, when somebody is mistreated or like they don't matter. And when that happens, God gets kind of riled up and will do whatever it takes, whether it's messengers or prophets or text messages or the neighbor coming down the driveway or even God coming among us in Jesus,
Yeah.
So no matter what in this life, always Jesus is promising he loves us enough to be willing to die for us, to go to the cross, which is pretty cool. I wonder if maybe this would be a good moment for us to pray together. Would that be okay with you, Shelby? All right, well, let's pray together right where we're at. Dear Jesus, thank you so much for how big and wide and deep your love is, that you don't just love us from a distance and hope that things work out, but that you came among us and that you were willing to risk that people wouldn't receive you, that people would reject you, even that you were willing to die on a cross for us so that we would be kept safe, so that we would be loved. Help us to trust that love everywhere we go. Help us to look out for the people around us who aren't being taken care of or aren't being treated well. And help us when we're the ones who need to change our actions and treat other people well too. Thank you for that love that meets us where we're at. We love you too, Jesus. Amen.
Amen.
Thanks so much for being part of the conversation today, Shelby.
You're welcome.
And thanks for all of you for joining with us today. Give your dogs and cats a hug, all right? Talk to you later. Bye.
Bye.
Shine
we've been getting in this habit lately of ending our Sunday school times together by praying, by using the words of the Lord's Prayer, and I wanted to invite you to pray along with me. Would you pray with me right where you are? Okay, it goes like this. Ready? Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. Hey, thanks everybody for joining us today. Hope you have a good rest of your day. Bye, everybody. Bye. See you later. Bye.